Hi, Freddy here, back with another video. If you're not new to this channel, if you watched some of my videos before, you know why I have this phone right here. Honestly, if I don't have my phone here with my notes, I'm gonna just ramble on and make this video probably 5 times longer than it should be. So yeah, I'm not sure why, right? I wish I was different, but I seem to always make the most valuable content when I have my phone with my notes and I know exactly what I'm gonna say next. So bear with me. I'm going to be dropping a gem for you guys today, because if you're watching this video right now, you're probably a semi-successful or very successful business owner who currently mentors or wants to mentor people on how to see the same success that you have seen. Okay, and on paper, a lot of you might look good on Stripe, on paper, on Stripe, all that stuff, like your business is looking good, making good amounts of revenue, all that stuff. But after taxes, teams, software, ads, and the random costs that stack up every month in your coaching business, what's left for you to take home doesn't actually match the effort that you put in every month, right? And if we're being honest, you probably have been hovering around the same profit figure month after month for quite some time now. Right? Now that actually begs the question, right? What is actually the best way to maximize profits as a coach? Okay. Well, simply put, it is to just use a financial model, what I like to call it, and understand what numbers need to be hit in order to make the money that you want to make while maintaining good amounts of profit. And most coaches that I speak to never run their business or do anything in their main business without running the numbers or without doing any sort of financial modeling beforehand. But for some reason, when it comes to coaching, that just goes out the window. I don't know why, and that's why I've actually built the social funnel financial modeling template. And it's not some like funnel hack or like motivational pep talk kind of thing where you just say, oh yeah, we're just gonna make more money, we're gonna book more calls, we're gonna close more deals. No, it's nothing like that. It's an actual framework that you can use. It lays out the hard hitting numbers so you know exactly what you need to strive for in order to drive the most amount of profit possible without kind of stagnating your growth in your coaching business in 2025 and beyond, right? So on this video, what we're actually going to do is I'm going to walk you through this exact template line by line, and I'm going to show you exactly what break even looks like for your ads, how many sales you need to make in order to break even on your ads, whatever you're spending, right? How many calls you really need to hit or really need to book to actually hit your goals in terms of revenue, cash collected, and profit, and what your ROI looks like after your setters, after your revenue share, if you have some kind of agency or operations manager that you've hired, whatever it is, or maybe you're giving out revenue share to your setters or closers, whatever it is. If you're doing less than 50k a month, I don't know why you have any closers, but let's say you do, and then also like refunds and stuff, if you want to count that in as well. But by the end, right, you'll know whether your coaching model is actually capable of the numbers that you're chasing, right, or whether you're just running in the dark with a blindfold on or something like that, right? So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so this is the financial modeling template that we use, and basically what we'll do, we'll use this sheet to basically get really clear on the exact metrics and the exact KPIs we need to hit in order to get you to your goals, right? So let's say, for example, in this very hypothetical situation, that your goal with your coaching business is to be making $20,000 a month consistently every single month in take-home profit, not just profit after ad spend, not just profit before ad spend, not profit before payroll, take-home profit after all ad spend and payroll, right? So let's say that's your goal, and let's also say that your offer price is $3,000, right? Let's say that's the case. Now let's start off with a $900 monthly budget. Okay, that's about $30 a day, right? And then let's say your cost per follower, and basically what we do here, just for a heads up, is we install very realistic but pessimistic data in order to map out and project what metrics we need to hit
in order to get you the results that you want. Okay, so cost per follower 3, cost per call, starting out, let's make that 50. Qualified call rate, make that 60. In fact, cost per call, we can bring that down to about 30, right? 35. If we're only spending about $20 to $30 a day, then we want to maximize that as much as possible. Qualified show rate will make that 90% from now. Sales close rate, make that a little bit pessimistic at 35. Revenue to cash collected ratio. So this ratio is basically what percentage of the total price do you usually charge up front, right? So the reason we have this is because it's quite irresponsible to assume that every single person will pay in full, because they won't, right? So what we can do here is we can account for the lowest amount of money that we will accept in terms of a payment plan up front. So the lowest amount we can accept is 1.5k. Or sorry, 1.5k in this case, or like 50% upfront, like a split pay, right? So let's say we account for only split pays. Not to say that at the start, if you're just starting out in your coaching business, like there are times where if you want to get from like that zero, absolutely no offer to like 6-figure run rates, you're gonna have to do a few like custom deals here and there. Like you might have to go a bit lower than the split pay option, but sometimes. But if you're already doing like maybe 5-10k a month and you have money to spend on ads, right? I always recommend just not going any lower than a split pay for payments, right? So rev share payments, let's make that like 30%. Set rate commissions, if we're booking like 25 calls in a month, that'll be about let's say 250. Right? So about $250. Let's make it $300 for argument's sake, right? So about $300 in set rate commissions. Refund rate, we make that 1%, because honestly, any more than 1% refund rate, you're in a little bit of trouble. Stripe might give you some bother. And then, yeah, it's just not the best. It's not ideal. But most of the people we work with, like pretty much everyone we work with, have never had any more than like a 1% refund rate. Even with the guarantees that they have in place and everything like that. So yeah, we have that all in place. So looking at the KPIs, you're going to be surprised here, right? All right, so with these KPIs, a $35 cost per call, 60% qualified call rate, 90% show up rate, 35% close rate, 50% revenue to cash collected ratio, 30% revenue share and revenue share payments when it comes to paying us as an agency, and then also the appointment setters, their commission, and then set rate commissions in terms of what you pay for, book calls, right? It's looking like this: 25 book calls, 15 of them are qualified, 13 of them show up, four sales closed, no refunds, 4 clients, gross revenue is 14k, cash collected 7.2k, net cash collected after all ad spend 6.3k, revenue share and set rate commissions is 2.4k, your personal profit take home after everything is 3.8k, right, on $900 ad spend, which is pretty good. So your cost per client is $187, pretty good. ROAS 8x, 16x, right? On 8x on cash, 16x on revenue. Personal ROI is 4.2, so a 4.2x return on investment on your personal profit from the money that you put into ads. And then net profit margin is 88 on like the cash collected after all ad spend. Then your personal profit margin is 53%, right, after everything, which is pretty good, right? So let's say, right, we get these results, right? We get these as like a baseline. We'll want to strive for this as a baseline, right? So let's say we get to this point and you're making, you've like pretty much hit these KPIs, right? Let's say we pretty much hit these KPIs. What we'll always want to do is we want to maximize the results that we can get for all the ad spend that we're putting in, right? Before we start scaling. So with this $30 a day, like $20 or $30 a day, we'll try to manipulate the numbers or try to optimize the numbers as much as possible to make more money with the same amount of ad spend, right? So one of the best ways to do that is without kind of raising your prices or anything, because from experience, especially when you're dealing with lower ad spends, like raising the price isn't always necessary, because it can mess with your closing rate if you're not like the best closer. So yeah, like when you found a price that allows you to close at least 1 in 3 people, when you're able to close at least 1 in 3 people at a certain price point, that should be your price point, right? So until you have like a skilled sales closer that, you know, is closing maybe like 50% of the people at this price point, and then you up it slightly, and then it dips back down to maybe 30%, and then you up it by 50 up to like 50% again, you raise it again, and you keep going through that cycle until you're at that point. Then you should really just stick to the price that allows you to close about 1 in 3 people, right? So we're not going to change the price just yet. What we're going to do is one of the biggest things to maximize the amount of money that you make per dollar that you spend is lowering the cost per call. Now this can be done in a few ways. We can either get better appointment setters, hire more appointment setters, which won't be too bad because it's all commission only, right? It's nothing out of pocket. Or you can get better at organic content and bring in more organic leads, because that will naturally lower the cost per call, because you'll be getting more leads for free, basically, right? So cost per call, we can bring that down to 20. Let's optimize it for $20 per book call, right? Qualified show rate, let's optimize it. For qualified call rate, maybe we improve the messaging inside the content and the ads. Maybe we improve the qualification inside of the DMs, make it stricter. Maybe we improve tweak the imagery that we use and the backdrops that we use to only attract the type of people that we want. So we maybe bring up the qualified call rate to 75%. Let's say that, right? And let's say the people that are qualified, we improve our pre-call sequence, so at least 95% of people show up, right? And let's say we improve our close rate to about 45% instead of 35, because we improve our sales process, we get better pre-call videos, we tweak all that stuff, right? Just by changing that, right, and changing the set rate commissions just to be based off of the book calls, let's make that $500 for argument's sake. Just based off of that, you've now you've like almost quintupled, you've more than quadrupled your money from 3K to 13K, right? You've pretty much brought down your cost per client by 1/3. And then you've pretty much I think it was 8 before. So you pretty much quadrupled your ROAS on cash collected. And then pretty much, I think it was 12 before. So you pretty much, again, quadrupled your ROAS on revenue, right? And just for heads up, this ROAS on cash is to account for, let's say every single person pays on a split pay, and there's no one that pays in full, right? Obviously, there's going to be people that pay in full, but not everyone's going to pay in full. That's why we account for the worst case scenario, right? And with not everyone paying in full, right, that allows us to see, okay, what is the gap and what is the actual what's the actual potential money that we could make, right, if everyone pays. Okay, so that's the potential that we can make, right? So just by tweaking or improving what we already have and getting more out of every dollar before we ever start scaling the ad spend, that is what is going to make sure that we scale profitably. Okay, and basically, yeah, personal ROI 15x, that's insane. Net profit margin 96%. and then personal profit is 63%, right? So all we need to do is we need to find our baseline, right? So if we go back to what we were before, right? This would be like our baseline, right? Like our baseline in this hypothetical situation. These numbers might be different for you. It might be more, it might be less, right? We need to find a common ground where we're like, okay, if we hit these numbers, then we have something that's working, okay? And then from here, once we know these numbers, everything that we do moving forward in terms of what expectations we set for the appointment setters, what expectations we set for ourselves, how much content needs to be put out, everything like that, all that, everything that we do is going to be built around making sure we hit these numbers, right? 25 book calls, making sure at least 60% are qualified, making sure at least 13 show up, making sure we close at least 4 sales calls in the month, making sure that, you know, we're closing at least 14k, right? And collecting at least half of the money up front, making sure that we're not spending any more money than we need to, making sure that, you know, the setters are paid correctly, everything like that, making sure that your profit is similar to this, everything like this here, right? If we're a little bit below this, if we're underperforming, then we'll find ways to kind of increase our results with what we got already. We don't have to spend more on ads. We don't have to just, you know, do all these different things. We just need to figure out what's not working and what's already been in our system that we've already set up. The biggest mistake that I see a lot of online coaches make is whenever something goes wrong, they try to solve they try to change a million things at once. You have to look at marketing as like a test, right? It's like a science experiment. Do you get anywhere with the science experiment by changing a bunch of variables at the same time? No, you change one variable at a time, you note down what the changes were, and then you go on and then you test another variable, right? You don't change a bunch of variables at the same time, because then you can't track what changed what, okay? And then what happens is we come in, once we have hit our baseline, we can then try and optimize. So then we can, instead of going for like 25, I think it was it 25? Yeah, instead of 25, we focus on getting 45 calls booked per day, per month, right? We can even have bonuses, right? If we can have bonuses for setters if they hit those KPIs, right? The most important thing here is the cost per call. If I'm being completely honest, the offer price helps as well, right? Raising the offer price helps, but lowering cost per call as much as possible is one of the highest leverage, highest profitability activities that you can do, right? Lowering the cost per call. Also, like, improving qualified call rate is good as well, but that's kind of hard to do. That's a lot harder to do. One of the easiest things to do, and it brings in the most money, is by lowering the cost per call, right? Upping your show rate as well is a very, very underrated way to make more money, right? Making sure more people show up. Sales, and to be fair, like, most of the time with the people that we work with, like, the show up rate is pretty high. So yeah, I mean, yeah, like 95 isn't like unrealistic for us. If we're dealing with more calls, like maybe like 100 calls in a month, maybe the show up rate will be lower. But yeah, sales close rate, that's another one where, like, let's say I even reduce this by 5%, right? If I reduce this by even 5%, that takes off like $2,000 from your personal profit. That takes off, like, I think it must be like $6,000 from the revenue, and then at least like $3,000 from the cash collected, right? You know, like, improving the sales close rate is an important thing, right? And then also we can have for the future, all right, let's say in another scenario, you've now mastered this ad spend, this level of ad spend, right? We've optimized it fully. Now, almost always when you try to increase ad spend, there will be some kind of change in the KPIs, right? it just happens. I don't know how to explain it. I wish we were in a more ideal world where you can just increase ad spend and the KPI will stay the same with the same systems, but for some reason it just happens, right? Maybe, you know, the cost per lead increases, so cost per call increases, or something like that, right? So but let's say, right, we've mastered this level, but now we want to scale, because now you're at 11k personal profit, right? Your goal was 20k. Okay, so in this scenario, we wouldn't change the price too much because we still haven't got closes and stuff in place to make sure that we have A players that are able to close at a high rate. So we'll keep the price the same, and then from here we'll increase ad spend, right? But before we do that, we need to find out what the ROAS is with more pessimistic KPIs. So cost per call, will raise that again by like 10 or 15, like 35. Qualified call rate, more ad spend means more people, which means more chance for there to be people that are unqualified. So let's bring that down to 60%. And then let's bring down the qualified show up rate to 80%, right? Let's bring the sales close rate to 35%. Right, and then let's keep it at this, right? And then now, looking at this, ROAS on cash 7x, your personal ROI 3x, or ROAS on revenue 14x, and your personal profit margin 48%, right? Net profit margin 86%. With these more pessimistic figures, okay? So with this, right? Now that we know, on average, you're gonna have a 7x return on ad spend on cash. What we can do is now we increase the ad spend, right? Your personal profit right now is going to be 3k on this. What we can do now is increase the ad spend, right? $2,000. Let's increase it to that, right? Your personal profit then goes up to $7,000, right? Let's increase it some more. Let's get to 4,000. Right, 15k. All right, we got to 15k. Let's increase it to even more. To, I think, let's do 5,000. Should be okay. Well, let's do 5,200. Should be it. Okay, so with these metrics, right? If we have these metrics. If we spend $5,000 on ads roundabout, and these metrics with this offer price, you will make 20k a month in personal profit. So this is what the metrics need to look like for you to make 20k a month in personal profit. All right. So in this stage, again, if we get to this stage, even in the other stages, right? Let's even dial it down to like 2,000. We're always going to try and optimize as much as possible before we scale ad spend in any way, right? So even if we get to $2,000 in ad spend, right? Even if we get to $2,000 in ad spend, let's say we hire more setters, right? And we lower the cost per call to like 25, right? And we improve the messaging even more. Then we get to like 70%. Qualified call rate. Short rate, we improve that, let's say 85%, right? Sales close rate, that improves a little bit. 45, we improve the sales close rate or the sales process. Let's be a little bit more conservative, right? And then here, set rate commissions based on the amount of calls booked. Let's make this around 900 for argument's sake, right? Sorry, 800 for book calls. Right here, it's pretty much doubled your your return on ad spend, right? Pretty much doubled your personal profit, right? So with this new system, we're always going to be accounting for, okay, the KPIs are probably going to get a little bit worse as we scale ad spend, but that's going to be more leads, more calls anyway, right? So then once we get to a certain point where we have hit those pessimistic figures, we can then optimize again until we then raise ad spend again, and then we hit those pessimistic figures on new ad spend, then we optimize again to get even more out of the same dollars, right? So this is how you properly scale. Let's say, for example, a really good a really good system. We have everything going on, everything is working well, and we want to scale past 20k a month in personal profit for you, right? Let's double the ad spend even more, right? Get to 5k. And then let's make the figures more pessimistic. Let's say here, cost per call is like 45, right? Qualified call rate is like 70. We'll keep it there. Actually, let's make it like 65. Show up rate, make it like 85 again. Sales close rate. Now let's say in this situation, right, we've raised the ad spend because we want to include a closer. We want to have a closer in place, right? Because we're already doing what, like 30k, or like before. Hold on, let me go back. Before we were doing like 28k cash collected every single month, or 56k revenue every single month. So we'll be able to attract like good closers into the offer, right? So by upping the ad spend, we can up the ad spend. Let's say we have these pessimistic figures, but we include a new closer, right? We include a closer, so we're able to raise our price a little bit, raise it to like $4,000 hypothetically, and then we can raise our sales close rate to about what, 45, right? Half up front, optimizing for split pays as the worst case scenario, and then obviously as a sales closer, we pay them about 10% revenue share, and for the amount of calls booked, right, set rate commissions will be about 1,100 set rate commissions, right? So personal profit, right, is still around 26%, right? Sorry, at 26k or around 20k. It hasn't budged as much, but the gross revenue and the cash collected has shot up tremendously, right? Obviously, your profit margin has went down a little bit, but you're not going to be taking sales calls anymore, right? You're not going to be taking sales calls anymore, right? And let's say, for example, now we want to optimize the entire system. We want to lower the cost per call. Let's bring it down, right? 30. Let's get a qualified call rate up. Let's improve the messaging. Let's make it 70. Let's get show up rate up. Let's get to 90. Sales close rate, we get better at sales closing, brings to 50%, right? And then now, all of a sudden, whoa, even more money, Same closer, everything like that. Let's say you hire a client success manager, okay? Say you hire a client success manager, you're paying them like, let's say you're paying them around $3,000 or $4,000 per 20 to 30 clients that they manage. So at this point, we've closed 52 clients, right? So we'll pay them about $4,000. We'll pay them about $6,000, somewhere in the middle, right? So like $6,000 plus the set rate commissions, which would be about $7,500. Okay, so your personal profit is insane right now, right? And you have a sales closer that's closing deals for you. You have your setter that's setting appointments. You have your client success manager that's managing your client relationships and also helping your clients get results. You're having us handle the back end systems, the training, the management of the sales team, everything like that. And you even have potentially a video editor that you're paying to actually sort out your videos, right? Maybe you're paying them $1,500 a month, so $9,000 in salary commission, right? Maybe you're paying them that much per month, right? So altogether, you have a very, very lean coaching business that's making you a lot of money, right? So honestly, right here, like this is what it's all about. You want to get super clear on what the numbers are, and we want to get super clear on what like the scaling plan will be. Okay, what KPIs you want to hit, because then we can fix everything around what we want to achieve. Okay.
Alright, so you made it to the end of the video, so I just want to say I appreciate you watching to the end, and I hope you found a lot of value from this video. Now, if you're a business coach or mentor, you have a main business that's gotten you most of your success up to this point in your career, and you are now building a coaching business, either you currently work with clients or you're looking to work with coaching clients to help them change their lives just like you have done for yourself, and you like my approach, you like the way that I break things down like I have in this video, what you can do is you can actually go to my Instagram, linked in my description. You can go and shoot me a follow, watch some of my content on there, and DM me the word ecosystems, so that way I can understand that you want more context around how some of my systems that I talk about in my YouTube videos can actually help you, and whether they can actually propel your business forward specifically. And if you have already done that, then feel free to hit the subscribe button and like the video, or not. I don't really mind, but all that to say, I actually post weekly videos just like this every single week around how business mentors and coaches just like you can scale to 20 to 50k a month in take-home profit with their coaching businesses, with a lean, profit first, time friendly coaching business that allows them to change the lives of others just like they have done for themselves, without taking time away from family, their main business, or just what they like doing day to day. So yeah, again, if you like this video, feel free to let me know what you think in the comments, or like, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.